Thank you for being in a class all by yourself. You are autonomous. We thank you. You're excellent. And we love you. For these next few moments, God, we invite you to be with us as you invite us to be with you. Draw us into the inner court. We give an audience of one. Speak to us, Holy Spirit. Have thine own way in this place. Thou art the potter, we are the clay. Mold us and shape us after thine will, while we're waiting yielded and still. Father, I decrease that you increase in me. When you say stop, I'll quit. When you say yield, I'll slow down. And everything is for your glory. In Jesus' name, pray. All of God's people said, amen. If you would hold up the word of God and let's confess the word of God. Say, I believe absolutely everything that this book says about my life, my family, my future, my finances, my feelings, and my faith. In Jesus' name, amen. Again, we welcome all of those who are just coming in online and everybody in the building tonight. Tonight is going to be a good lesson tonight. Good lesson tonight. It's going to be good. I'll just say that. And we'll go from there. I'm reading from the book of the complaining prophet. Not the weeping one. There's a prophet that leads off with a complaint. Habakkuk. The book of Habakkuk. Chapter 2, verse number 1 in the New Century Version. It's probably one of those books that don't have too many greases or I can't say grease anymore, highlights or underlines in your app or bookmarks you have. If you read this text, it will show you that Habakkuk has a complaint with God. He is complaining to God because the children of Israel are being significantly punished by the Babylonians. And Habakkuk's complaint is, God, are you just going to not do anything? Are you just going to see your people go through such atrocities as this? And if you read it, he's like, it's just like you thinking about your people like fish in the sea. Like a fish caught in a fisherman's net. The fish swim into it, they pull them out and they fillet them, they cut them open, they fry them, they fricassee them, they saute them. God, are you just going to stand by and see this happen to your people? Now it brings us to chapter 2, verse 1. So, Lord, you know what? I ain't going to say nothing else. I will stand like a guard to watch and place myself at the tower. I will wait to see what he will say to me. I will wait to learn how God will answer my complaint. Parenthetically, the complaint is not Habakkuk's personally as it relates to him. He's complaining about the condition of people. So I don't want you to pull out of context what you're personally going through to complain to God. This context, Habakkuk, the prophet, has a complaint on behalf of the people's condition. And God, since Israel is your people and Israel acknowledges you as their God, are you going to sit here? That's what his complaint is about. Not about what you go through or I go through. Make sense? So he's putting in a corporate complaint. So let's say this could be what we call a class action suit against God. And Habakkuk is the remitter of the suit. Number 2, verse 2 says, the Lord heard my complaint. He got it in the mail. And the Lord answered Habakkuk, not the people. Write down the vision. Write it clearly on clay tablets so whoever reads it can run to tell others. It is not yet time for the message to come true, but that time is coming. The message will come true. It may seem like a long time. The evil nation is very proud of itself. It is not living as it should. But those who are right with God will live by faith. The word of God for the people of God. You may be seated. So, neighbor, I know you had a good day, but right now, I need for you and me to pay good attention. If you're online, I hope you heard what I just said. Type it and just say, pay attention. Can we all agree, or do we all agree that times have changed? Show of hands. Times have changed. Even though times have changed, somebody said they've changed. For the most part, the goals are the same, if not similar. But what has changed is the length of time it takes to achieve them. Y'all catch that? Goals are kind of similar, if not the same, but the only thing has changed is the length of time to achieve them. Like people decades ago, they like today, they strive to be successful. People 20, 30 years ago want to be just as successful as people of today. That's nothing new. They didn't want to live in poverty. They didn't want to be broke. They wanted to have the same resources and financial freedom as people desire today. Doesn't matter, same. But today's success, unlike decades ago, is not in black and white. And you don't receive it through the bunny antennas. Anybody remember the bunny ear antennas? You got to point it this way, that way, that way. You got real sedity. You get the aluminum foil and put on the ends of it. Anybody did that besides? Yeah. But today, success comes through fiber optic connections, and it's in 4K and 8K resolution. So people want it much faster. Let me help you. If you had a scandal out 20 years ago, took a minute for that thing to get around. Took a minute, boy. If there's something that happened on the east side of town, it probably hit the west side of town for a few weeks, maybe even a month. And by the time it got to the west side of town, they told me, is that the one y'all were talking about? Not today. Something happened today. Somebody could be in trouble. You could be drowning. Instead of them jumping in and trying to help you, they recording you dying. Ain't that simple? Wow. But the grandparents of the 20th century, go back for a minute. Go back one thing, DeAndre. Yeah. Let me say that again, man. That's so good. Success, people want it back then, but today they want it now still, but we just want it faster. Got it? But the grandparents of our 20th century, watch this, they fought, they worked, and they worshiped for victory. Today, we just want to go viral. So I invite you today to put down the pen. Put down your pen. Ooh, what does that mean? Doesn't make sense right now, does it? Turd's going to be kind of a doozy. I'm sorry, but I implore you to think tonight. Amen? Amen on this side? Thank you. The text reveals the complaint of Habakkuk to God, as if it appears to Habakkuk that God is sitting by idly, not doing a thing, and he's watching the children of Israel suffer at the hands of the Babylonians. Now, some of us could probably relate to that, if not all of us, that we can see that we've been saved and sanctified and Holy Spirit filled, sitting in church and speaking in tongues as the Spirit gives us the utterance, or we want to speak in tongues and we're trying to figure out what utterance is. But it seems like God has forgotten about us or me. I come in and I am really bothered by the success of others that sit in the same church seat that I do. God, how is it that they can and I can't? I pray more than them. Seemingly, I live holier than they do, but you seemingly take care of them more than you would take care of me. Amen. I know that gripe or grumble or complaint exists, but we dare not want to showcase it because it doesn't show our faithfulness to God or our love for God. That is a private grumble that we have or have had before. And so Habakkuk feels this way. God, wait a minute. I'm a little confused here that you say that these are your people, but you're allowing them to suffer at the hands of their enemies. And watch this. And their enemies are progressing at the expense of your people. Seem like they're living their best life at the expense of your people and are being happy about it. Woo, nothing can make you hotter than when it seems like your enemy is living better than you. Right? I mean, he cheated on you and got a bigger house. I mean, she left you and became a president. But, oh, God, that ain't right. So Habakkuk submits his complaint, and he says, you know what, Lord? God, I'm going to wait for you to respond. So he sits like a watchman sits on the tower, because as a prophet, he was used to hearing God speak, waiting for God to say something to him. Are y'all with me? Hallelujah. But you know what? There's a lot of stuff. I got to go back because there's a part in my notes that that didn't come through that I want y'all to hear. The message of today's culture is a positive one. Right? It's a positive one. You look on YouTube, you look on any type of social media, it's a positive message that comes to us. But this positive message can also be antithetical to a business or a corporation or a church that has a vision. It has a subtle undertone of the promotion of yourself. The pandemic has really exacerbated this as we are experiencing what they call the Great Resignation or the Great Reshuffling, or some even identify it as the Great Realignment. Woo. Now, efforts and energies that were once put into entities have now been focused on individuals. I used to put my effort into this entity, but now I'm going to put it into me. As if to say it's everyone for themselves. Now, I'm all about the power of business ownership and entrepreneurship. Don't get it twisted. But the truth of the matter is, a lot of people have quit their job only to own a more expensive one.
So true.
They have gone from working 30 to 40 hours a week to now working 60 to 70 to 80 hours a week. But watch this. Like a traditional job, the business only makes money when they work it. The only difference is now you just have to pay your own taxes. But contrary to popular opinion, you say, I can. You can be successful supporting another's vision outside of your own.
Yeah. That's true.
Oof. Man, let me read that again. I know that kind of stung a little bit. You can be successful supporting another's vision outside of your own. Ooh. Personally, I don't believe you can be successful if you don't. Today, God speaks. Now, I can bring scripture to back it up. Luke 16:12 says, how can God entrust you with your own if you have not been faithful to another man's vision? Luke 16:12 says that scripturally, as a matter of fact, Luke 16 has one of the hardest parables that Jesus talks about, in that, which I dare not to get off of, but he talks about, it's like the master rewards a liar in that parable. And it seems like lying is the right thing to do. But it talks about unrighteous mammon, and unrighteous mammon in Scripture is considered in our present day interest. See, it was against the law to charge Jewish people interest. And I go back and teach that at another date. But he goes through all of that accounting stuff, financial literacy, to get to the bottom part to say, if you've not been faithful in another man's vision, how can God entrust you to that which is your own? All right? Just put that on the shelf. Here it is. I don't believe you can be faithful successful until you serve in another vision. Faithfully. Today, God speaks to everybody. God speaks to everybody. And everybody has a vision. God speaks to everybody, and everybody has a vision, which makes it difficult for individuals to own and follow one.
That's good.
Because everybody has their own. Everybody got a vision for your family, a vision for where you want in career, vision how you want to retire, vision how you want to live. Everybody got all these visions, these individual compartmentalized visions. And so it makes it very difficult for entities such as a church to give vision when everybody comes with 4 or 5 of their own. And then, if you're not careful, if you're not a strong leader or pastor, then your vision will end up becoming an amalgamation of several different visions that's made up through the congregation. If you're not careful, the children's ministry will become the daycare that the children's teacher been dreaming about. Tell your neighbors, say, put down your pen. Ooh, I know this is contrary to what you've been taught. You've been taught to go get your dream boards and what they call vision boards. Put on your vision board what you want, and to journal and to confess. And I've even taught confess here and write down here what you want to see happen and what you want to happen, how you want this to happen and how you want that to happen. But how many of us leave room for God at the top of that board? I went out on a limb tonight to teach this because I'm going against what our culture says to us every day, 24/7. So I went out on a limb. I believe that God anointed me to share this tonight because if it doesn't resonate with you, it's only because it's not popular to hear. That makes sense? Hallelujah. So here it is. Verse number 2, the text reveals that God tells Habakkuk to get out his pen and paper. That's in present day. But he tells Habakkuk to what? To write the vision and make it plain. Write it clearly. Write the vision and make it plain. And this is the text that we as individuals use in our personal lives to go after what we believe God has told us as individuals. And this is also, the irony is, this is also the same text that the enemy has used divisively to separate the church. Here it is. How is that, Bishop? I'm so glad y'all asked. Because everybody has a pen and everybody is writing. Can I say it again? Yeah. Everybody has a pen and everybody's writing. Say it one more time. Say everybody has a pen and everybody is writing. Thank you. Say it one more time. Say everybody has a pen and everybody is writing. What does that mean? What does that mean? Are y'all listening to me tonight? In actuality, when you have a pen, you are writing your vision. You're writing where you want to live, who you want to be married to, how many kids you want to have, what income you want to have, your retirement income, businesses, opportunities, employees, how you want to help the community, how you want to do. Your pen is on fire. Yes, sir. Yes. But tonight, God told me to tell you, put down your pen. Because there's so many people writing that nobody's running. I told you it was going to. I tell you, Brother Tracy, I know that seems like an insult to you, to most people listening, because if you work in your vision and it's working, I know God gave me this. I know it because it's working. It's not necessarily true. Something can work and doesn't mean it's God. Amen? Don't believe me? The disciples were fishermen before Jesus met them. Yeah. He just happened to come up on an off night. So what they were doing was working. How could they let one night change their whole career? Y'all hear what I'm saying? One night, that just changed their career because it was passed down from their fathers. Peter's father was a fisherman, so it was passed down. He forsook all of that to follow Jesus after one encounter. But we have to have 7 series just to get you to give an offering. You know why? We got to have 7 series? Because everybody's writing. He said, write on clay tablets. Why am I writing on clay tablets? Because the clay tablets are then baked. So to bake clay tablets means that the writing was preserved. That means that the word of God is preserved so that the vision would never become muddled. it would always remain clear.
Yeah.
See, vision without heat will become distorted.
Oh.
Vision requires heat. Are y'all with me?
Yeah.
Whew. I told you, vision requires some heat, requires some opposition, some pressure, so it can be seared and burnt in. So you know that this was God that gave it to you. So that when trials and troubles comes, and nope, I know what the Lord said. This is what God said. It hasn't changed. I will not change. I will stand on it. Because it's clear. Somebody say it's clear.
It's clear.
God help me. But watch this. He said, write it down so they that read it can do what? Okay, woo, I can come down now. I can come down, Reggie. He looking at my notes. He happy already. I'm going to charge him for his seat. Watch this. That sounds like if you think about it, while you reading, you running. Oh man, hold on. No, you can't read and run at the same time. No, that's not what that says. You have to read it first. Because when you read it, that's when you understand it. That's when you take ownership. And watch this. And the reading empowers you to run.
Oh, come on here. Read it.
That's why I thank God for the new members that have joined. Sit for a second so you can read it.
Come on.
P stands for people. O, opportunity. W is the word. E is excellence. I got an operating expectation that something great is going to happen. And R is for relationships. That we value people because we don't pass over opportunities repeatedly. If we do, we're going to be poor.
Yes.
Let that get down in my spirit. Let me know that I'm a giver. We are Philippians 4:19 church. We bless our pastor. It's called the lion's chest, that a grace may sit on my house and rest in my house. Every time I go to the closet, bathroom, kitchen, living room, there's a blessing waiting on me because I take care of my man of God. It's called the lion's chest. When that gets in you, when I understand it and I own it, and I can say it with certainty and assurance, now I can run. Never run when you don't understand. It was not meant to be read while running. That means you got to sit down somewhere. Read. And we hate to do that today. We hate to read. We hate to listen. You know why can anybody guess why we hate to read? Anybody guess why we hate to read? We too busy writing. Notice you don't hate to read stuff that benefit you. So in your reading, you writing. Right? I recommend, Dad, I've recommended some books to some people in this church. I asked them, did they read it? No, not really. I ain't read it. Know why? Because it wasn't a book that I said, this is going to help you. I recommended books for the help the vision of God.
Come on. Yeah.
But if I say, hey, you read this book, guarantee you're going to be married in 30 days. Bishop, it was amazing. I got down to the last part. Oh my God, it was great. I'm going to look up at the light. But I think I'm talking about them. Pray for me, Brother Mike. There are too many people riding their own that they can't run with the one God has assigned them to. Power Nation, can I tell you something? Everybody who's joined this church, when you join, you said out of your mouth, God has assigned me to the vision here. That's why a lot of people don't understand church membership. When you join, God has assigned me to the vision here. And so I'm assigned to the vision here, and out of the vision here that I run with, God will prove me faithful. And through that, watch this, no vision is born autonomously. It's connected to a previous one. I mean, let's sit and think. Do you think that God, at the beginning of time, that he skipped over all these brilliant people to give you that? Nobody's ever thought about that but you. No, your idea is an amalgamation of exposure and information that you read from somebody else. You just had the discipline to sit down and put it together. But it wasn't born out of nothing. God is through with nothing. He finished nothing in Genesis. Oh, Jesus. God is the only one that can work with nothing. Not us. We ain't that great. Excuse me. We are not that great that we can take nothing and make something. It is through exposure and information. Watch this. Even my preaching and my teaching tonight, watch this, has been formed by who I've listened to. Oh, are y'all with me tonight? Ooh, man. I just want to bring this to fruition, because I want us to understand that the world is giving us an ungodly message and is trying to disconnect us, even though we're more connected. If you want to be famous, where do you go to watch you? Where? Who? YouTube. YouTube. And y'all, subliminally, it's us. It's you. And that's why we're so easily offended, because we're not connected. Right? Pastor Reed can say something to me that she can't say to Brother Tracy. Because I know what she means. I'm 25 years. I got this. Tracy here, he'll get PR'd, like, oh, who are you talking to? Well, because you're not that connected, you don't know. And so when people are not that connected, they can hear things, take sound bites in church, look at them. I knew it. And then they'll come to you with a 30-second sound bite and try to disqualify church, why you go, why you give, and all this, and they don't do none of that stuff. Unless vision will protect you. You cannot write and run at the same time. Amen? I've talked to, I remember when I broke this out I talked to my executive team a few months ago, about this. And I felt the kickback at the table. Because I got entrepreneurs and business owners on the thing, like, oh, wait, talking about Bishop. Oh, come on now, wait a minute. Oh, wait, hey, what's going on here now? What do you mean? What are you talking about? Like, God gave me a vision to come to Greenville. And he didn't bring me to Greenville to be a client of my member. Did that flow over your head? Amen? Then God gave me a vision for Greenville. And truth be told, truth be told, if you were honest with yourselves, when you first came to Power Nation Church, you weren't thinking about your vision. You probably didn't even have one. It was the teaching through the Word of God that opened up doors, if we can be honest, that you applied, and now you see that this thing works. And now that it works, we're having more seedlings fall off than fruit developed. That means that before one tree can produce leaves, we too busy feeding another baby one that has sprouted. Then another baby one sprouts. Then another baby one sprouts. But guess what? As pastors have to do, celebrate you while we're scratching our head. This was somebody I thought I could use as a director, but I can't because now they directing themselves.
Yeah. That's good.
Oh, y'all ain't gonna stay with me in church.
Yeah.
But let me tell you something. In order for Power Nation to be where some of you have seen it to be, we got to have somebody say, hey, Bishop TC, let me tell you something. Do you need me to work third shift so I can be here during the day? You know what? I'm called to the vision God has given you. I'm here to work it for you, for God, because I believe this is going to happen. And I'm here to push what God has given you because I believe this is it. And this is what we're going to do. What we need to do, Bishop TC. Now, I know that sounds like it's against it, but it's not. It's biblically laid out. It's how businesses start and roll and move on. But what most people do, and this is how most people think, is they say, well, let me get my stuff up, and then I'll reach back for the church. Let me get where I want to be. Then I'll get you, Bishop. I'll invite you over to my mansion. You can eat steak at my house. Yeah. Oh, y'all help me? And it ain't about steak and about mansions, but that's how people think because this is the major message of today.
Yeah.
But God spoke to Habakkuk. Habakkuk wrote the vision, and he said anybody who reads it, understands it, can run and tell other people. Habakkuk, you write it. Oh, Lord, here it is. See, this is the trick of the enemy and assault of the enemy is that God gives the senior leader the vision. But because there are so many splinters, now he has to write it and run with it. He the one.
Yeah.
I'm the one. I put myself there. I'm the one. They got to write it and then get you to read it. Then once I leave you, well, hope she got it. Then hope he tell you, oh, he got it. Then let me run over here and tell you, oh, he got it. And now, watch this. I'm tired, and then the folk that don't got their own vision wait for me to continue to feed theirs with faith. And that's why we're short on volunteers, because we got too many people with vision. Lord, I'm sorry. I've just been charged to tell truth. Amen? Amen. You cannot write and run at the same time. I keep telling these younger generation people this. You can't grow until you've been planted.
Come on. You cannot. That is a principle. Yeah.
Say it louder one more time.
It is.
It's a principle.
It is true.
Y'all running around here like a chicken with your head cut off, hoping that somebody will call your name, see you somewhere, give you the opportunity of a lifetime. And if you did happen to make it under the lights, you don't have the roots to maintain the heat. It will burn you like the dickens. I've seen the mighty fall. They had the gifts, but no root. Amen? The temptation to write, where does it come from? Glad you asked. The inability to wait. The temptation to write comes from the inability to wait. Well, Bishop, I get what you're saying. You just take it too long. That's your vision, what God's giving you. But my own, now, I can make my own decisions. I can call my own people. I can get whatever. It's just taking too long for what you're doing. So I can't wait on what God is telling you. Let me go ahead and write what my own thing, what I believe God is telling me. So the temptation to write, and that's why, and even in Power Nation, I've seen some of the members, they start stuff and you're excited and you fizzle out after 3 months. The reason why, the energy you were giving to that, if you just stay faithful to this, and not just Power Nation, other churches, I've heard other pastors, you ran well, but who, now I didn't say what, who, it didn't say a spirit. Who, it didn't say a demon. Who is a person? 9 times out of 10, that person is who? Us. The temptation to write comes from the inability to wait. Because watch this. Even when Habakkuk, God spoke to Habakkuk, said, Habakkuk, it's going to come. It's not yet for an appointed time. But it will happen. In verse 3, it may seem like a long time, but be patient. Whew. James chapter 1 said, but let patience have its perfect work. Look at somebody and say, be patient. If the devil can't get you to go back, he'll get you to go on overdrive. He will get you to run, get you to jump hoops, get you to move fast, and you posting like you everywhere. I'm in Seattle today. I'm in Texas tomorrow. I'm in Chicago. Oh, and it looks like it's God. But when you are emotionally tired, physically tired, and spiritually drained, you will make dumb choices. Hello? But that's why I said, be patient. Be patient. Be patient. Be patient. You sing a song. Please be patient with me. God is not through with me yet. Be patient. Be patient. And wait for it. Because it's going to happen, just not right now. Hello? Yeah. I'm so glad that God didn't allow some things to happen. I'm so glad that God allowed some things to happen. Let me tell y'all something. Why? Well, Bishop, is God so much working for you, then why have you been over there on that corner for so long? Listen, because I've been waiting on the Lord, and I've been listening to God, and I've just been being patient. You know why I'm being patient? Because you know what? About 7 years ago, I could have signed a contract for $1.4 million with a nice facility. They were going to outfit it and everything. State of the art, everything. The Lord said, you better not sign that. You know why he told me you better not sign it? Let me tell you exactly what the Lord said. He said, look who you got with you. I looked around and I said, God knows you right. And as soon as I turned it down, they started leaving. I said, Lord, thank you. Because if I'd have signed it, I'd have been at Bojangles right now. So how can I help you? With or without cheese, sweet or unsweet tea. I ain't telling you what I heard. I'm telling you what I know. Thank God for patience.
Yes, Lord.
I said, thank God for patience. Yes, I can sleep every night. Hello? Yes, good. I've had talked to pastors waking up with nosebleeds and headaches and high blood pressure and going to the doctor in the emergency room because $10,000 due by the morning, $25,000 due by the end of the week, and that's just payroll. You know why that happened to those? Some may have didn't listen to God, but for the most part, so many visions in one roof. Because at the end of the day, if you have a vision and that vision requires resources, those resources are going to that vision. If you have a vision and it requires resources, namely money or time, it is going to that resource. If you agree with that, say amen.
Amen.
Hello? That's why at the beginning of any entity, listen to me, where it's secular or sacred, the principle that was just mentioned, it requires sacrifice. Amen? A lot of people said I've heard this. A lot of people say, you believe that it's going to grow, but the actions don't reflect the belief. Because, and this is just me, personally, sometimes I'm up to 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Not worried. My mind is vision-centric. I'm thinking about people and where to put and how to do this, and especially now since, we're embarking upon the West Campus. I'm thinking, I'm looking, and I got a chance to sit in my office yesterday by myself for about an hour in Raleigh. I said, that's the best thing that could have ever happened, because I was in the place. And Pastor said, how did it feel? I said, it felt refreshing. It felt revitalizing. It felt like people were calling me there. Oh, Shabbat. I said, ooh, because it's. But I'm waiting for God. I'm waiting for God. I'm waiting for God. I'm waiting. I'm serving Greenville. I'm waiting. I'm serving. I'm waiting for God. I'm waiting for God. Right? I'm waiting for God. And the best answer I've given to people when they ask me, well, what you doing? You know what I say? I don't know. What it look like? I don't know. How you gonna do it? I don't know. Because when I say I don't know, now I employ the omniscience of God. Because as soon as I try to make it happen, here it is, everybody. I'm done. It requires faith to run with vision.
Yeah.
It requires faith to run with God's vision. That makes sense? And I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna straight shoot you. Sometimes it seems like you putting yourself on the back burner. Oh man, what could I have done with this? I've said the same thing. But I'm telling you something. But if you live by faith, those who live by faith, you will be right with God. That's in Habakkuk 2 and 4. It's also in Romans 1:17, that the just shall live by faith. Amen? And this is what I say. It takes guts to put your pen down, because it's a slap to your ego. When you write what you know. Now hear this, Pastor. I'm telling you, put your pen down. Oh. And this is what comes up in your head, whether it's the enemy or not, or whether it's a thought or not. You'll say, well, Bishop, you already got what you need. No, I don't. You fine. No, I don't. Deacon Bun wrote me a text. Was it yesterday, Tony? You wrote me? That's it. He wrote me. He made the mistake and asked me. You know what he asked me? How are you doing? I said, do you really want to know? Yeah, Bishop. And I let him have about 25% of it. And he texted me about a few hours later. I said, I'm sorry, Tony. I didn't mean to do that to you. I apologize. You're not a senior pastor. I shouldn't have done that. But I always tell him, I said, no, I'm good now. I sleep fine. Tony said, Bishop, you make pastoring look easy. I said, it's the grace of God. It ain't got nothing to do with me. It's the grace of God. And he asked me the hardest. He said, what is the hardest thing for you right now to get people to follow vision? That's the hardest thing for a pastor in this time, not just me, for a pastor during this time to fight against all of the me messages, the self-help, the self-interest, matter of fact, the self-empowerment industry is a $42 billion industry. That's how much people are investing in themselves. Make sense? And we've gotten away from God's plan of success and growth. We've gotten away from it.
Yeah.
And that's why I thank God for Tracy. Tracy said something the other day. Do y'all know how many churches have closed down since COVID? I mean, significant numbers have closed since COVID. But by the grace of God, we are here. You know what I'm saying? We're here. I mean, we're here. We ain't laid no musicians off. I ain't had to go to Reggie looking sad face. Hey, man, you're going to have to play for free. We're going to have to go to a track. That's by the grace of God. Because you know why? I fight to keep vision first. Because that's the only thing that keeps us in existence. It's God's vision, not what we feel. That makes sense, everybody? I pray I've said something to help you tonight. Hallelujah. So, God, I thank you tonight for the word of faith. I thank you, God, that when the temptation comes for us to pick up our own pen and to write what we think is best for us in my life and what I need to do, and if I fit you in, God, good. If I can't, whatever. When that comes, Lord, reveal to us how we started with you. How you called us out of darkness into a wonderful light. How you saved us when the enemy wanted to destroy us. How you empowered us when the enemy wanted to impoverish us. How you brought my family together. How you kept my children. How you kept my husband, my wife. How you kept my mother, my father. How you brought my sister, my brother out of situations, God. God, have you kept me employed? I thank you for promoting me, God, and giving me greater resources. God, bring that back to my memory when I want to go my own way. So we can realize if it had not been for you on our side, the enemy would have swallowed us up. But Father, I thank you tonight, God, for having the guts and the courage to put our pen down and to read the vision of God so they that read it may run with it and tell others, that it may spread like a wildfire, raging out of control. That cannot be put out by the doubts of the day or the dismal circumstances of the times. God, we love you. We thank you, God. And it's in Jesus' wonderful and matchless marvelous name we pray. And all of God's people said, amen. Can you give God a praise and clap your hands? Can you give God a praise for vision? Can you give God a praise for vision? Can you give God a praise for vision? Can you thank God for vision? A God-given vision that is going to happen, that is going to be fulfilled, and that we are a part of it. Hallelujah! Woo! Yes, Lord. Amen. I'm so looking forward to being back on Sunday morning, College Sunday.